live. So hi all, hi Kat,
Hello.
and it's amazing to have you today. Like all of our users really enjoy the new, people we introduced to the audience, like xTiles users. So I believe it's again amazing opportunity to meet some amazing people.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to do this.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today and sharing your experience. To be honest, I was super impressed by your background. And, usually we think that not super tech savvy people will use xTiles, but your case is something different. So, yeah, I'm really impressed and motivated a lot. So, yeah. And we have first comments. Hello, Willow. Nice to have you today. Hello, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for
Yeah,
joining.
as always, we'll be waiting for a couple of more minutes for more people to join because we have a lot of people signing up to our event. And while we are waiting, just want to say that this session will be recorded. You will get a, a recording afterwards. So after our live session ends, and yeah, don't be shy asking your questions. And as you can see, we already have a first slide on our screens. So please share in the comments. Does it sound familiar to you? That Kat, describe what do we have today?
Yeah, so if you're here already, we'll still just wait for people to come in. But if any of this sounds familiar, just type like 1, 2, or 3 if you don't want to share the full thing. But basically something like, I can hyperfocus for 4 hours straight, just not on the thing I'm supposed to be doing. I'm either going at 200% or completely paralyzed at 0, no in between. Or everyone seems to be able to just do it. Maybe I'm just lazy or stupid. If you've ever had that thought, feel free to chime in the comments. Totally relatable experience for me, and I think a lot of people here. So yeah, also I like the highs. So
Yeah.
keep those coming.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, hi Willow. Amazing to have you today. Hello. Hello. This
The
is
first
so
one
familiar.
specifically, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe like in my case, I also, like the second one is, something I feel a lot, like I want to go like super deep and make this like not even 100%, but 200%. But yeah, sometimes I believe it's like too much to all three. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that ADHD is like, oh, you just can't focus, but it's actually like a problem like with regulating your focus. So then it's like, oh, sometimes I really, really can. Sometimes I don't know what's going on. Is there something wrong with me maybe? So we'll kind of dive into that once we get started in a minute or so.
Hello, Fabio. Nice to have you today as well. And thank you all for sharing. Yeah. I believe most of the people can feel the pain, of ADHD stuff and so on. Yeah.
I know I'm not lazy or stupid. Yes, absolutely. None of us are lazy or stupid. Just sometimes the feeling comes up and it's like, oh, am I doing this right?
Yeah, and especially when you're trying to build a startup and you can see all the news, like every day there is like one more unicorn, one more decacorn, and people build it like yesterday, and now it's like super popular, and we were like, damn, what is wrong with us,
And then like with AI and everything, it's like every 2 weeks there's like
especially
a new
with
tool and you're like, should I try it? Will this help my brain or not?
Yeah. Okay, thanks for sharing. And I believe we can start. What do you think, Kent? And I also want to say that once again, for people who joined us only now, this session will be recorded. You will get a recording right after our session ends. And yeah, if you're ready, I believe all of us are ready as well, so we can start.
Yeah, cool. I can't see how many people are here, but for anyone who's just joining, we can just kind of restart with this. So if this sounds familiar at all, type 1, 2, or 3, or chime in with anything that resonates with you. So I can hyperfocus for 4 hours straight, just not on the thing I'm supposed to be doing. I'm either going at 200% or completely paralyzed, no in between. And maybe you resonate with the feeling that everyone else seems to be able to just do it, like maybe around you at work or whoever you kind of interact with day to day. Maybe I'm just lazy or stupid if that thought crosses your mind, knowing it's not true logically. Yes. So just an intro. So this is ADHD-First work systems. We're going to talk about how to neutralize your weaknesses and supercharge your strengths with ADHD, because it's much more complicated than just a deficiency. Or I don't really like when people are like, oh, ADHD is a superpower. Like, it's not all or nothing. There's a lot of nuance. And especially when in a corporate environment, or if you don't have a standard job, or just trying to navigate your career, ADHD and a lot of the things that come with it are really important to address in order to manage things properly for your life. So just an overview of what we're going to do here. Appreciate everyone for hopping on here. I know it's like a bit of time, especially on a Wednesday afternoon for people on the East Coast. So we're going to go through first, who am I, my journey from meta software engineer to building what I do now, which is technically ADHD, and then going into how to identify your ADHD strengths and weaknesses, actually use that knowledge, and then going into navigating your career direction, work environments when you're wired differently, and then following up on the second half, practical frameworks for managing executive dysfunction. Really tried to make this visual and easy to understand for people. And then kind of doing an xTiles demo near the end, putting it all together, because I really, really think genuinely that xTiles works really well for ADHD brains.
Thanks.
Great job to Serhi and team. Yeah, so who am I? Why am I even here? So I graduated from Yale with a CS degree, and then ended up doing 5-6-ish years in software engineering at Meta. I worked on teams at Instagram and on the Facebook side of things, kind of doing all over in true, what is it, like ADHD fashion, sort of exploring kind of everything that I could at the company. We built 0 to 1 IG subscriptions product to global launch. It was kind of crazy and chaotic sometimes, and in a team of 10 engineers, some of the best experiences of my career. Then towards the end of that, though, I was late diagnosed with ADHD at 27. Did not know or think at all that I could be ADHD, because I didn't look like what everyone, like what ADHD is like supposed to look like not hyperactive. I could obviously focus and get things done at work, but there was like, it felt like 10 monkeys on fire sprinting around my brain at all times. On the surface, everything was put together, but I was so stressed and just overwhelmed, didn't know what was going on. I just thought I just wasn't good enough a lot of the time, even though, the deadlines happened and things got done and I got the promotions. A huge thing also was if I didn't agree with something at work or just generally wasn't that interested, it was impossible to find motivation. It wasn't a skill issue. I just couldn't do it. Yeah. So the thing is that I think ADHD helped and hurt me in lots of ways. It's very complicated. But in the ways that it helped me, I actually ended up like by necessity, because I was just, was like, if I don't figure this out somehow, figure out how to manage myself, I am probably going to get fired because I'm not going to make the things. There's just too much going on. So I ended up creating, and now like in hindsight, I realized they were all a bunch of ADHD friendly systems. Really worked hard to understand my brain and get the help that I needed. Things that looked obvious to me were not obvious to everyone else. And that really helped me actually do well at the job, even though it felt like at the time, I'm like, I don't know if this is the correct move or correct opinion. I felt like I was always looking for, is this right or wrong? But it was really like, oh, other people just don't have this ability to see patterns like this. Sometimes I would restructure my team. I would host monthly, like it ended up being like body doubling sessions, but I would get people once a month, for example, to like come together and work on testing or work on something. We would all gather together in a room. And yeah, it basically ended up being a bunch of ADHD friendly systems, like not even knowing that they were ADHD friendly. So pivoting after a couple of years, I kind of decided like, okay, like I have to follow what my manager or what my team, like org, decides is good. And at a certain point, it kind of split where I didn't agree with the direction of the company. I didn't agree with the direction of the team in a lot of ways anymore. And I had developed a lot of skills from corporate. I learned a lot of things and decided, okay, maybe I can go off and do something of my own. And I realized, wow, like I struggled so much silently while I was at the job, and I managed to succeed on paper, but it was really difficult. It would have been so much easier if someone just told me, like, hey, you have ADHD and this is how to manage it better. And here are some tools to actually deal with what's happening in your brain. It's not your fault. This is what's actually going on. So I created a content and tech-ish founded this thing. I coach people, mostly technical people, but also high achievers with ADHD through their work struggles and also generally with life things, because it's not just work or life. Cool. So we're going to talk about ADHD strengths and weaknesses to start. So this is a graph that when I was at my job, one of the best managers that I had showed me this on a whiteboard. And he said, okay, there's these A, B, C, D, like sort of target areas for your, like to get to promotion, right? And he was saying everybody has like this sort of spiky graph when it comes to each of these distinct areas. So I was saying, I feel like I'm not that great at A, C, and D. I'm really great at B, and I feel like I need to kind of average everything out, right? To kind of match the expectation of what everyone, or of what like the promotion was requiring of me. However, what he actually said to do is, no, actually, don't really worry about A, C, or D that much. You kind of just need to get them up to baseline, and then in order to really succeed and become, there's this whole concept of like a 10x engineer or something. You don't have to become like 10x on A, B, C, and D to do really, really well and make a really big impact in this company. So I think this applies to inside a company or with outside of a company, just in life in general. If you feel like, oh, I'm good at, really, really good at B, but I'm so bad at A, C, and D, and all your brain can focus on is, I'm not good at A, C, and D, so I'm a failure, right? Because all of these other areas, these are just not strengths of mine. So instead, you can think about really doubling down on B and making that like your superpower, and just baselining the A, C, and D. So a question for people on the chat, just to start, because I think sometimes this is easier to think about. What tasks, conditions, skills, areas, or whatever do you struggle with the most? So think about kind of, if you are thinking about ADHD, like maybe you're not that great with details, maybe you're a little bit disorganized. It's different for every single person, but feel free to pop in the chat if what comes to mind here in terms of the things that maybe aren't your strongest points, or maybe I can't focus for like X hours straight.
I just wanted to say that I like the concept. Inside the team, we constantly, like, not fighting, but just discussing about the idea on being great on A, B, C, D. And most of us are now thinking that, like product managers, now they're not only product managers, they are also UX designers, and they can code even. So now they're like 3 in 1. So they should be really great, not only in B, but A, C as well, and maybe D. But I really like the concept. I have never thought about that. Well, we thought about that and discussed when somebody tries to push hard in only one direction. But I was surprised that it was like a suggestion in your corporate world. So it was like insight for me. So nice.
Cool. We got some comments. So some task initiation, maintaining focus on tasks while still taking regular breaks, difficulty focusing on meetings when you're not the leader. Ooh, I like that one. Or the follower, just kind of there. Okay. I think this will take some time, but keep the comments coming in while we go with this, just to save some time. If you have something in mind, even if you don't feel like sharing on the chat, no worries at all. I know it's kind of vulnerable to be able to share stuff like that, but hopefully you can resonate with some things that other people are sharing. Amazing. Great. So just one way to look at this, if you have your weaknesses, right, list them all out, just brain dump everything. It's totally fine. The first step is awareness. Now we're going to flip it, right? The strengths. So the same brain that struggles with email sees patterns that other people miss. You can coordinate chaos like nobody else. You can hyper-focus and produce 8 hours of work in 2 sometimes. And you can generate so many ideas faster than most people can write them down. Research literally shows that ADHD brains, people with high scoring ADHD symptoms, are actually more creative and much more do better at divergent thinking tasks than people without ADHD traits. So there are actually proven strengths. It's not just a set of weaknesses. So a quick exercise based on the weaknesses that you've defined or mentally kind of allotted in your head. I'm going to baseline the weaknesses. So for example, if you can say, I can't focus for 4 hours, instead of fixating on, I can't focus for this amount of time, you can, what is the minimum amount that you can do, right? I can focus for 2 hours, right? 4 hours, maybe a lot, 2 hours, 1 hour, even 30 minutes, and then take a break. You can still do that amount. Like that will get you far on its own. I can't time block like most people. You can time block for the current hour. I can't sit still. Does your environment actually need you to sit still, or do you just think that you need to sit still, right? There's a lot of things where we think that something is what we should be doing in the environment, but it's actually not a real rule. It's just kind of our perception of seeing what everybody else is doing. So on the other side, we're going to flip the script on the weaknesses and then spike your strengths. So this is an exercise to take your weakness and then try to find that hidden strength on the other side of it. And sometimes it's not that obvious, but there's always a flip. So for example, if you're highly distractible, maybe the flip side is the ability to notice connections other people miss because you're literally noticing everything. If you have difficulty task switching, maybe you have the ability to hyperfocus, even though switching tasks is difficult. So we're going to lean into that instead. If you're impulsive, actually, you're really, really good at thinking on your feet. And that's a really, really important trait to have in a lot of environments. So try to think about shifting the perspective on what like your weakness actually means in terms of what you're actually good at. Because our brains will tend to focus on the negative things rather than the positives. So this is like an active reframe exercise. Another thing to dig even deeper into this concept of identifying your strengths. If the flip exercise is a little bit difficult and you're kind of stuck, you can also answer this question. And I know the chat is a little bit delayed, but if you're able to type in the chat, what do you do so naturally that people compliment you about it and maybe you don't even think about it? Like when we think about our strengths, sometimes it's really easy to think like, oh, this is so easy for me. This isn't actually a strength. It's just easy, right? But what comes easy to you is often not what comes easy to everyone else. Like I think personally, like I think it's easy to make systems for my brain. But as I started like coaching people with ADHD, I'm like, wow, like planning and all of these particular skills for ADHD that come easy for me. Like I'll make sticker charts, like I'll have like all these systems, I'll use xTiles, all these things. They don't come naturally at all to a lot of other people. So, or even like explaining things on this demo. Like some people are like, oh, you explain things really clearly. I'm like, I didn't think anything was that clear. My brain feels jumbled all the time. But yeah, a lot of times the people around you will kind of know better than you. What you're actually good at. I love this for the strengths. Yeah, see solutions, big pictures, very creative and very good at coming up with ideas. A lot of us are great at coming up with ideas. And I like that one too, because I think a lot of us focus on like, oh, but I can't get anything done. There is a lot of value in coming up with a good idea and getting buy-in for that, for example, right? Just because you're not great at the execution yourself, maybe you're good at coordinating other people. And that needs to happen in order for an idea to happen. So people don't have great ideas and are just good at executing one thing, right? So it's kind of thinking about, again, that spikes graph and how society and work and a team is a sum of people with all these different spike graphs and trying to build like the best team. A lot says this person is funny. I love that. Great. Cool. So what this means for your career, stop optimizing for job titles and start optimizing for what you're actually doing day to day. So try to find something, if possible, that you can do more of that supercharged spike and index a little bit less on potentially your weaker areas, or be on a team where other people are stronger at your weaker areas. You don't have to totally quit your current path like I did. I'm kind of doing this my own journey here, but it totally applies whether you love your job, you hate your job, or you just want to make it better. So focus on the skills and the things that you're doing day to day, primarily. Like I think Serhi mentioned this before, but like the role of a software engineer, for example, just having that experience can be really, really different from one company to another. I was doing tons of things that were not coding related, but I was good at them. So it kind of made sense, but somebody else on the team was kind of just fully coding, even though we had the same job title. Okay, amazing. So there's sort of two paths forward for this. Path one is find an environment that suits your brain. Who are you working with? Is this a fast or slow-paced team? How much variety and autonomy are you getting? For example, at Meta, they have this program where you can, before the recent shifts with AI and things, they used to have where you could, a situation where you could choose your team and kind of talk to the manager and try to understand what the team dynamic was like before you got onto it. And that was great because for me, at least, I was able to realize, okay, this is where I work best. Does this team already have things that will best support the way my brain works. So that's one option. The second option, which I think is highly underrated and a lot of people don't think of this as much, is that you can actually and should mold your current environment. So for example, like if you have ADHD and you know that you have this and you don't feel like you can tell your boss or your team or whoever you're working with, you don't have to ask for accommodations. You can just ask for the outcome that you want. And small structural changes can make a massive difference. So for example, I was signed up to do a specific role as a software engineer originally, but I was like, no, I actually want to explore more paths. I don't want to just work on this one part of the system. When I joined the team, my manager was like, oh, we only have space for just this one part. And I'm like, okay, I'll figure it out. I'll convince you to give me more responsibility in a way that will continue to make the work interesting. So how did I do this? I created win-win conditions. And whether you are doing this at work or you're doing this just in life, this will work without fail. So first, identify your shared goals. What does your manager or your collaborators, whoever you're associating with, ultimately want? What do you need to function at your best and reduce the overwhelm? And then communicate how that adjustment helps everybody. So for example, my team originally, we were sprinting to a deadline collectively, and our team lead at one point thought that daily check-ins at the beginning of the day, asking for everybody's task list and everybody's progress was going to be effective. And my brain was like, nope, this is a waste of time for me. Like I cannot be here. I would much rather like do anything than be on this meeting because it's just not that productive for me. So I pitched to the manager, hey, how can I have this system that worked on my previous team where we checked in twice a week and then we had like a monthly like additional session. Can we just completely pivot to this spreadsheet that I already put together as a draft so that mostly I just wanted to save myself pain, but it also saved everybody else pain because when I talked to other people, they also said that they didn't really find all of the time in the existing structure that valuable. So we did this thing where you're kind of broke into subgroups. We had this more structured, like twice a week check-in thing with more async stuff. And that worked I was like, let's just test it out for a full month. And then if our productivity increases, then great, you win, I win, right? So try to find things like that. And then just understand the rules are all made up. So make it work for you. Some things just sharing from big tech that our org actually implemented that really, really helped my brain that I didn't realize helped my brain, but did. So no meeting Wednesdays, full day of the whole org understood, like we generally don't block meetings on this day so that everyone can kind of actually focus. Our team did monthly retrospectives and kudos sessions, which are also really great for ADHD because sometimes you do all the work and you don't get a reward for a really, really long time until your project is done maybe. And this was like very, very concretely our team, people would give each other like, oh, thanks for doing this, or thanks for taking on this extra task or putting out this fire when it was on top of your existing work. So it really just gives like more dopamine boost. It feels more collaborative in the team. Our org also did meetings that started 5 minutes after the hour, which is incredibly helpful for time blindness. So in my head, for example, like, okay, a meeting starts at 1 p.m. And for some reason, my brain just doesn't clock like, oh, it actually starts at 1:05 p.m. So I would target 1 p.m. and then be late to 1 p.m., but actually be on time for 1:05. It also gave a lot of people breaks between meetings so that they weren't like scrambling, especially managers who had a lot of back-to-back things. That one I think was like the most like kind of innovative thing on our team. We also had sort of mentorship pairings that doubled as accountability. It's really hard to work in a silo, especially as a software engineer sometimes. So I really like appreciated the managers who understood, like, okay, like at least here's your kind of partner in this, so that it doesn't feel like you're working totally alone. Yeah, and then alternative working hours. I think people in software engineering, or at least in big tech, understand like flexible working hours is kind of the norm. But for me, that helped a lot because I like to work like late mornings and also like evenings more than the afternoons. So I would ask, like, I would tell everybody basically, like, hey, I know that I'm least focused for deep work in the early afternoon. So everybody schedule meetings with me during that time. And then the rest of the time, as long as I get my work done, is fine. So coming to an agreement as much as you can about outcome-based things, as opposed to like, oh, you have to be here exactly like 9 to 5, which typically doesn't work well for brains that are a little atypical. Okay, great. So this is on to the second part, where we're going to talk about 3 practical frameworks for ADHD management. I know a lot of you came here for the ADHD specific stuff, but so we're going to go more into that side of things. All right, so this is an overwhelming slide, but it's on purpose. So working with executive functioning challenges. So ADHD coaches and the ADHD field in general think about ADHD as executive functioning difficulties. So each of these areas, and there's different ways to categorize this. There are some categories that I didn't put on here. But for example, the skills are task initiation, time perception, planning, sustained attention, self-motivation, emotional regulation, task switching, or impulse control. Sometimes there's also organization and a couple other items. But the key thing is that these are skills that you can develop. And you might potentially be higher or lower on each of these things, depending on the way that your specific kind of ADHD works, which is different for everybody. So why I mentioned the executive functioning challenges is just do it broken down, kind of visualizing the steps for ADHD focus. So for a neurotypical brain, it's just kind of, you decide to do something and then you do it, right? But the problem is for ADHD, there's like a million obstacles in the middle of that between deciding, starting, stopping, and continuing to do something. And the executive functioning breakdown that I shared earlier, all of those skills and kind of weaknesses in those areas kind of come in, and those are the things that create obstacles between I want to do something and I'm going to do it. So just to, add a little bit of engagement here, if you've ever been on the couch and you sit down and maybe you're scrolling and then like you're just like, I really need to do XYZ. I have to do this thing. I have to do this thing. But hours later, you just cannot get up. Like it's just the getting up that you can't do. Just type in the chat if that resonates, like an exclamation point or something. Yeah, this is the whole decide, start, stop, continue, executive functioning, all getting in the way of you simply getting up off of the couch. So the first thing is to reduce shame. So most procrastination isn't laziness, it's an emotional regulation problem. So you're on the couch, you can't get up, you can't start, you feel bad that you're on the couch, and then you're like, why can't you just get up? It's not that hard. And you tell yourself, like, it's not that hard, it's just this, what is wrong with you? And then you try harder, quote unquote, which never works until you get a threshold of extreme pressure, like something is actually, like something is going to burn on your stove, for example, or you like if you really don't get this task done, like you are going to get fired at work, because it's like actually do or die situation. And then it keeps going in this circle, in this spiral, I would say, until you hit that threshold. And that at that point of threshold, sorry, you're already really burnt out, and you've wasted so much energy just going down this spiral and not actually having anything to show for it. So the first thing we want to do is cut out the shame. This is what I want everybody here to really accept and internalize. Just do it, what's actually happening. So deciding, there's too many options. Maybe what do I do next? Everything feels important. There's so many deadlines. On the start part, maybe it's a low dopamine problem. It's so boring that it's painful. What if it doesn't work? How long will it take, right? On stopping, if I stop, maybe I won't ever be able to reach hyperfocus again. It's not good enough. I'm trying to over perfect. This isn't important, but it's so interesting. I cannot stop. I don't want to stop. And then continuing, I lost momentum, so it's simply not interesting after the first week. I can't tell if this is going anywhere. What about all the other ideas I had instead? Maybe that will work better. So the first thing is really objectively saying, okay, this is really difficult. Like for someone who can just say, I want to do this, and then do, it's just 0 and then 1. For us, it's like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then to 100, right? Just to do. So really, all of us, yeah, the people in the chat saying yes, 100%. All of us, you're not alone. This is a fully recognized thing that is happening in your brain. So when you're here, understanding, okay, like we're fine. This is objectively harder for me than the average person. Then we're going to diagnose the root cause. So instead of immediately blaming yourself, you have to understand why starting is difficult. The problem is you can't even diagnose the root cause if you keep avoiding the fact that it's hard. If you say, like, I should just be able to do it, I should just be able to do it, you stop yourself from even asking yourself these questions, and you just make it harder for yourself. So say, okay, it is hard for me right now. What is the problem? So this is sort of like almost the engineering way of like, what is the problem? How do we find the solution? So is it, for example, is it a decide, start, stop, or continue problem? How are your energy levels? Are you tired, hungry, or need some movement? All of these things really, really affect your baseline dopamine levels. So really, we want to target them at the root. A lot of the times we think it's this problem over here, when it's really like, have you been taking care of your body? Next, do you have crystal clarity on what to do next? Do you know what you're actually doing, how to prioritize, why you're doing it? Are you afraid of something succeeding or not succeeding, and you're avoiding something because you're simply afraid of change? Change is scary for everyone. Screenshot this, I love that, in the comments. Yeah. And then, am I in the right environment to help kickstart my brain? So understanding how your brain works, scheduling, what times of day, etc., these kinds of things. There's a lot of things that go into it, but yeah, this is kind of an overview. The point of this slide, though, step 1, just accept where you are so you can actually ask these questions of yourself. Okay, framework 2. We want to minimize friction. And I know a lot of people have probably seen productivity advice that says less is more, but absolutely 100%. For ADHD, less is more. I think a lot of times we're like, oh, we're not doing enough. So I have to do more. I have to add another system. I have to do these tasks too. Like but no, the first step to getting more done is doing less so that you have space for more. So for example, there's a lot of obstacles that could be in the way. For example, these are just examples that I came up with on the fly. I don't remember where I left off at all, and now I have to reorient myself. Obstacle number 2, too many things, 132 open tabs, 52 productivity apps, and 4 different timers. Another obstacle, but what should I have for dinner, breakfast, snack? Did I drink water? But the water is so far. Feeding yourself. I kind of will forget a lot of the times, just like in a hyper-focused spiral, which will make things worse. And then the last obstacle, in order to do this task, I need to clean my desk. But in order to clean my desk, I need a wipe. But I forgot to order wipes. So now I have to place an entire grocery order while we're at it. And suddenly you're doing groceries and not even close to doing the task that you were supposed to be doing. So one basic system that works. So if you, just talking a bit about planning, a lot of times we'll chase dopamine in the planning itself. And we call this like productive procrastinating sometimes. But the problem is when you plan so much that all of your energy is going into the planning itself and you're not actually using your plan to do anything. So what we want is to actually simplify the plan, just the minimum amount of plan that you need to do, you need to make in order to get yourself on track to do the thing. The goal is not to have the perfect plan. The goal is to execute, right? So a straightforward system you actually use is much more effective than an impressive looking system you forget to use. Less is more. So for example, some minimal systems that for the examples that I just shared. So a system like literally for the first one, literally a one-line system summary of the last task of your day on one sticky note that you can see for the next day, right? For the second one, close all of your tabs before starting. You forgot what they were about anyways. Just start with a clean slate. You will be able to open the ones that you need for your current session. One calendar, 3 next steps, and then just go in order. System 3, a quick body system. Check for food, water, and sleep, like I said, making sure that you're taking care of your body. And then in the fourth system, dedicating chunks of time for cleaning and admin work so you don't have to slot those in and they don't get in the way of your normal working schedule. So maybe you can take like an entire Friday and you're just like, all right, this is a admin day, just to get things off of your plate so that you can reduce the overwhelm. Framework 3 for structured flexibility with time management. I really like the term structured flexibility because for ADHD, we're kind of like walking contradictions sometimes, where we both need structure, but we also need the flexibility. So type in the chat, maybe like now or not now, if this resonates with you at all. But sometimes the expectation is like, okay, I'm going to time block every single hour. I'm going to be so productive today, and I can actually do this if I think hard enough, and I will be able to conquer my time blindness. But in reality, what we have is now and not now, just two. Yeah. Instead of time management, not saying that time doesn't matter at all. Obviously, we have lots of our society operates on time. But barring deadlines, barring meetings and things, I want to encourage people to think about energy management in addition to or instead of time management. So instead of saying, okay, hey, this is the most important task that I have to get done first, and then after that, I can only allow myself to do the next one, or I have 1 hour to do this, and then I need to spend an hour on the next thing, or I have to do an hour on the next thing. Start with as free as you can calendar or chunk of time, and then think about it in terms of your energy. So what I do is I anchor each day with a most important task, and then I think about what types of tasks fall into what different energy buckets. So for example, the energy buckets can be like creative energy, energy for admin tasks, energy for deep work or focus time, physical energy, don't forget that one generates a lot of dopamine, and collaborative energy or meetings. So I try to 100% focus on using energy from one of these buckets at a time so as to not deplete my energy from all of them at once. You can think about it almost like recharging your batteries in each of these categories. When you're using one 100%, you're kind of giving yourself the chance to recharge and rest the other ones. So think about, these are some tips that work for me and some people, but take what works potentially for you, or maybe something that you hadn't thought about. You can sequence tasks by energy level instead of fixed start and end time. So, hey, I'm feeling creative right now. What's the most important thing in my creative energy bucket right now? Like for me, like writing or creating content, something like that. Sequence the ordering of tasks instead of specific start and end times. So after this, I'm going to do this. No matter how long it takes, maybe it'll take an hour, maybe it'll take 2 hours, but I'm going to do this first, then this, and then this. You can batch types by energy type. That's kind of what I was just saying earlier. And then when you try to get started, just focus on the smallest next 3 steps and then do them in order. So what am I doing right now? Everything else is not now. I'm going to not worry about that at all. Like, don't even need to take up brain space right now for it. Lean into the fact that your brain is much more wired for now versus now. Okay, cool. So now we get into the part where xTiles really actually implements all of these frameworks that I was just talking about. xTiles is a visual planner built for ADHD, or at least for me, it was, and I know a lot of non-ADHD people use xTiles as well, but for me, the first time that I used it, I was really, really impressed because it was the first productivity app I've ever saw that had ADHD template written on one of the templates. And I tried it and I was like, wait, this actually works. Like, this is actually, it's not just labeling, like this, someone actually had put thought into this, and it's actually designed for ADHD brains. It's low friction. All the templates make it really easy to just get started. And with a minimal tweaking and planning, you can change colors and things if you want. But really, you could just slap a template on. I've done this. Slap a template on, and then just get started right away. Structured flexibility with time. I'm going to show you in the demo later what I do in terms of how to make it flexible as well. But I love that it's so visual. And yeah, I use it often for my weekly setup as well. So Serhi, I know time-wise, I might have gone a little bit over, but I can do a demo now.
Yep, it's super insightful. Yeah, and I just wanted to share that all of the templates were created by somebody with ADHD. That's why it's not just labeling, it was created by somebody with ADHD, so yeah.
Yeah, so let me try to share the right screen. Okay, can people see? Okay, great.
Yep.
Let me try to zoom in a little. Okay, great. So this is, okay, again, we were talking about minimal, right? Like this is, so he's like, oh, looks so familiar. This is literally very slightly tweaked just from the ADHD template. And I'm not like, I'm actually genuinely saying like from the time that I started using xTiles like a year ago, I used that template and I was like, oh, this works. I don't really need to change it that much. So yeah, this is the ADHD template from xTiles. What I do is I have my top 3 priorities. This was like a recent week. So I really just make it as simple. I have mental rules for myself where I'm not allowed to put more than 3 things here. And then I also have rules where I can't put more than 3 tasks per day. But I put my most important task at the beginning, at the top, like the do first. And then I will put like the 3 things for each day. And then I'll plan this out for like Monday of the week or at the beginning of the week. And I'll schedule Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I won't actually schedule Friday because I know myself and I know that I'm not great with time. So I know that I will always have to shuffle some things around. So what I love about xTiles is you can move these things, right? So say I didn't finish this today, then I can move it to the next day, and then I can see, oh, okay, this list is getting kind of long. There's 4 things on it now. What do I need to shuffle for like the rest of the week, right? And then is this actually possible? Being able to see it out in like a visual layout like this is super helpful for my brain, because my flavor of ADHD is like indexes really, really visual. Yeah, and then I'll also have like a brain dump section so I don't get distracted. Like if I need to, like something comes up in the middle of the week and I have to handle it at some point, but it's not really related to my most important tasks. I am afraid I'm going to forget things. So I'm like, okay, I have to have a place to put it. So I'll put it here. And then, yeah, having a habit tracker, again, those basic needs. I have a more extensive, like physical habit tracker for like a lot more things, but this keeps it visual of like, okay, have you worked out? Have you like chilled for a little bit? Have you like eaten? Are you on a good sleep schedule? So it's nice to have that visually here as well. And then some other ways that I use xTiles or have used xTiles is, this is like kind of my favorite, where I kind of have done, I brain dump a lot. There's just so much going on in my head. So I really like that xTiles helps with organizing my non-visual brain into something visual. So with like my business stuff, I'll color code it, as you see, like by category, which is really helpful. So then I can also color code the same category onto my Google Calendar if it's a related task, for example, for YouTube or something. And then on top of that, I like to break it down even more. So I have like even more breakdown, like sections within each category. And then within each category, all of the brain dump things, whatever stands out to me as like, oh, not like 9 out of 10 of these things are probably not going to happen this month or really ever. Of these ideas, I'll bold the ones that, for example, that I think are kind of the best ideas or really should get done in the next couple weeks. And then from there, it's really great because, for example, you can move this also onto your weekly. So then you can move it and say like, okay, I'm actually going to do this now. And move it from the parking lot, for example. And this is kind of an older brain dump thing, but just for the purposes of this demo, that I just live the moving around thing. And then again, it's also super visual. So like I make YouTube content, so this is specific to me, but for anybody that does like design work or something that needs to be visual, it's really, really helpful for that. You can put brand colors in there, you can put pictures, you can drop in files, all sorts of things, resize all that to make it make sense to your head. So yeah, that's like another way that you can / I use it as well. Yeah. I don't know if Serhi, you have more to say on the xTiles part.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we also have a planner inside xTiles. It will be even easier for you to jump between weeks. So yeah, and if you have a lot of projects going around, all of the tasks will be inside the planner. So yeah, I like how you showcased like all the key parts. And I believe you are the very first user I see for like almost 2 years. I work in xTiles who move task from one page to another. That's simple, like from page to page, because not everybody knows that it is possible to do with styles, tasks. So I was impressed. That's nice.
Yeah, I like because it makes it flexible. Because in my head, everything's kind of all over. It's not just
I
like
understand.
rigid like that. Cool. And I'm kind of nearing the end of this. Let me go back to that screen. Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So that was kind of the xTiles demo. And then just kind of to wrap up here, I know a lot of people were pretty engaged in the chat. So as a next step, if you would like to work with me, I do coach people with ADHD. So there's a special offer that we're sharing for people who are live here. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. You'll get an intro one-on-one session with me, which typically is $300 for a single session. I have packages and things, but typically don't do one-offs. So we will work through a lot of the things that we talked through on the webinar today, and then also executive functioning, diagnostic tools. I'll give you custom skills and ADHD tips that will serve you for life. Like, I genuinely believe this. I've done the work on myself, that it's really, really valuable and will help you forever. And then also we have, you'll get a 1-year annual xTiles Plus subscription, which I believe is $99 typically. And then for the bundle, it's $197. Yeah, and if that isn't kind of in the cards for you right now for one-on-one support, there's lots of free resources that I have, like a newsletter, my YouTube. Feel free to email me at any time with any questions. Happy to be of help and support. So yeah, that's, I think, the presentation part. I guess questions or comments can maybe open it up if we have some extra time.
Yeah, we have 5 more minutes, and I also wanted to say, if you already have a subscription, we will extend for 1 more year. Yeah, so, and I also believe it's like a amazing offer to speak to somebody who worked in that big companies, who get so much experience. And you know, I had so many insights during the session. It's like, wow. So Kat, I'm honestly surprised. And let's read the comments.
Oh, one of the best ADHD-focused webinars hosted by xTiles so far. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Will. And you can trust Willow because, you know, the number of webinars attended by Willow is like dozens. So yeah, you can believe that feedback.
Yeah, so a couple of my clients are actually on this webinar. Thank you so much for supporting me. So that's really cool. But yeah, I love working with people one-on-one. So yeah, send me an email or anything. But also I understand people are in different like financial situations. So I want to make sure that there's like free resources for people. So yeah, that's where all the content comes in this webinar and things like that. So thank you, Serhi, for collaborating.
Thank you. Thank you for using xTiles. And I just amazed. And as I mentioned in the very beginning, usually it's like not tech savvy people use xTiles, but you like a complete opposite to such you know, idea that some people think. So yeah, awesome presentation. That's right. Thank you for your support. Amazing. Thank you, Willow, again. Yep. Very helpful. That's true. Thanks. Thank you, Willow.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, I think we have a couple more minutes. So
Yep.
if you're ready to pop them in the chat as well. Although I do love this positive feedback.
A lot of thank yous. Thanks a lot, Dwayne. Great. Yeah. Hey, Jonna. Thanks a lot. So insightful. And I believe most of the people just want to thank you. Yeah. I believe you can find the template in our template gallery, right?
Yeah, if you the template that I started with the ADHD one, I think if you just search ADHD weekly, it's the blue one. It looks very similar to what I
Yeah.
shared.
And just keep in mind that you can adjust everything like you need and like you want. So it's not obligatory to use our colors, styles. You can, adjust it for yourself. I got diagnosed at 71, and I just want to say I know John personally, and the way how she manages her business and works inside Claude, all of the MCP stuff, connectors, and so on. I'm super proud of you. So that's amazing. Yep, yep, yeah. So if you purchase a bundle, we'll give you 1 more year of xTiles if you have a paid subscription already. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yep. Thanks all. And I just wanted to say thanks, Kat, to you again. It was a real pleasure, super insightful. I believe we should do something in the future.
I
Again.
would love to. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. And I really enjoy, our community, super friendly people and like amazing people. I really enjoyed all of the sessions. We do every week, by the way. So yeah, thank you all.
Yeah, super cool.
Cool. Right. And once again, thanks. And thank you for your time today, this morning, afternoon, evening, like in some places. And let's have the final question. And yeah.
Advice for someone who just got diagnosed with ADHD. Yes. So this is lots of ways to answer this. I would start with understanding and reading up on ADHD and what it exactly is, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. I think Attitude magazine is a great resource to start. Anything that's approved by the ADDA, I think, is also good. So start with that. Honestly, I started with like lots of YouTube videos and books and things. If you know the channel How to ADHD on YouTube, that's also a really great resource. ADHD Jessie is also pretty good. Yeah. If you watch back on this webinar, if you look at the inspo for my YouTube thumbnail inspo, those are a bunch of YouTube channels that I actually really like. So you can also start there.
I wanted to say that I have one suggestion. If you discovered with ADHD, just start to work with Cat. That's simple.
Or do that. That's great too.
And thanks a lot for subscribing to Bundle. And please email me. I will share my email in our chat box. And we'll handle the subscription part. So no worries if you have a active subscription. We'll prolong it, like extend it for another year. So yep.
If you have any questions about the setup of the offer or anything, feel free to email either one of us and we'll get you set up.
Yeah, you can use the QR code on our screen. And I also shared the link. Yeah, and I also shared the link. And please come back.
I would love to.
Always a pleasure. Subscribe to your videos. Yeah, and by the way, Kat is a content creator, by the way. So yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, we do not require official, diagnosis, anything like that. But, I believe it could be also super helpful.
Yeah, I think also for people who are trying to get diagnosed or think they might have ADHD, my opinion on it is that if you have trouble focusing and with executive functioning challenges, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, unless you're trying to get
Mhm.
medication, in which case you do need a formal
Yeah.
diagnosis. It doesn't super matter if it's labeled ADHD or not in a lot of cases. If you deal with, if we just think about the skills, the executive functioning skills, we can always improve those, and it doesn't really require a diagnosis. If there are tips that people share, if the tips that I shared, whether you're like totally neurotypical, right? Like a lot of the things I shared were about career things. They benefit everybody. But if the tips work for you, then they work. The ADHD label is just to help you find more targeted resources for what exactly is going on in your brain. So if you think, oh, but I don't have ADHD, do I qualify for this? Like that, hopefully that shouldn't be a question for you. If you're struggling, you're struggling. It's okay to ask for help.
Yep, that's great suggestion. Okay, I believe that's it. Thank you so much. Like amazing session. Some people already purchased the bundle. Thank you so much for that as well. I believe it's just a great value, and yeah, you'll get the most of it. So stay tuned for the next sessions. And once again, thanks, Kat, for being our user and now co-hosting the live sessions with us. And I believe more to come. So, yeah.
Thanks to everybody.
Thanks.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and take care. See you next time.